What would you do if the person you trusted most led you into the heart of darkness? If the hands that raised you handed you over to a knife? This is the story of a girl who walked through fire, betrayed by her own blood, and emerged as something the world could never silence. Her name is Amara, and her journey will leave you breathless. Stay until the end, because what she uncovers will change everything you thought you knew about courage, betrayal, and destiny. In the rolling hills of Obike village, nestled in the heart of Ebony state, lived a girl named Amara. Her name meant eternal, but her life was anything but everlasting in the eyes of those around her. At 17, Amara stood tall and graceful, her frame like the slender trunk of an iroko tree. Her deep brown eyes carrying questions that pierced through the village's secrets. Her mother, Neka, often said Amara was born during a storm so fierce it shook the earth. A lightning bolt had struck their compound the moment Amara's first cry pierced the air. The elders whispered it was a sign. Some said of blessing, others of a curse. But her father, Chaik, saw only a chance to reclaim his lost glory. Once, Chaik had been the finest palm wine tapper in Obike. His brews so sweet they were said to make ancestors smile. But years of gambling and drinking had stripped him of everything. His reputation, his wealth, his pride. Now he spent his days sprawled under the village's oldest mango tree, dreaming of riches that would never come. His latest gamble, though, wasn't with dice or cards. It was with his daughter's life. Amara had always been different. At 10, she woke screaming, her small body trembling as she described a woman in white robes, holding a calabash brimming with crimson liquid that shimmered like blood. The villagers chuckled, calling it childish nonsense. Neka brushed it off, saying, "Dreams are just dreams." But the visions grew stronger, more vivid, as Amara grew older. By 17, her dreams had become something else entirely. Prophecies that clawed at her soul. In her latest dream, her father led her through a forest so dark the stars refused to shine. His smile was warm, but her feet wouldn't touch the ground. She floated, weightless, like a leaf on a river. When she looked down, blood dripped from her chest, staining the earth below. She stopped sharing these dreams, not even with her mother. Instead, she scribbled them on scraps of paper, hiding them beneath her sleeping mat. Each word felt like a warning, a plea from a world beyond her own. What did these dreams mean? Were they just nightmares? Or was something far darker waiting for Amara? One humid afternoon, a stranger arrived in Obike. His name was Chief Okonkwo, a politician from the nearby town of Umwahia. His belly round and his eyes sharp like a hawk's. He stepped out of his tinted SUV, clutching a bottle of schnapps and an envelope stuffed with Naira notes. The village buzzed with whispers as he made his way to Chaik's compound. That night, Chaik didn't stumble home drunk. Instead, he called Amara to his side. His voice soft, too soft. "My daughter," he said, his eyes avoiding hers. "You're becoming a woman. You'll bring honor to this family." Amara nodded, but a knot tightened in her stomach. Something was wrong. She could feel it like the air before a storm. 2 days later, Chaik announced they were visiting a relative in a neighboring village. He told Amara to wear her best dress, the crimson and gold one she'd sewn for a wedding she dreamed of one day. Neka's eyes flickered with worry, but she said nothing. Years of bruises had taught her silence was safer than questions. Amara boarded the bus with her father, a small bag slung over her shoulder. As they passed the village boundary, a hawk swooped low, dropping a single feather onto the bus window. Amara's breath caught. In her dreams, hawks were omens. But of what? Amara's heart raced as the forest blurred past. She trusted her father, but the feather felt like a warning. Had she just stepped into the trap her dreams had tried to show her? The bus stopped not in a village, but in a clearing deep in the forest. The silence was suffocating, broken only by the rustle of leaves. Chaik took Amara's hand, his grip too tight. "Where's Uncle?" she asked, her voice small. "He's inside," Chaik said, his smile strained. "He's waiting." But the man who stepped from the largest hut was no uncle. He wore a black wrapper and a necklace of animal bones. His eyes milky white, like pools of clouded moonlight. "She's pure," he rasped, staring at Amara. "The gods will be pleased tonight." Amara's legs buckled. "Papa, what is this?" she whispered, but Chaik stepped back, his eyes fixed on the ground. The man, a ritualist named Izila, seized her wrists, tying them with coarse rope. A gag silenced her screams as she was dragged into the hut. Amara's heart pounded as Izila began chanting, his voice like a drumbeat from the underworld. A knife gleamed in his hand. Was this the end? Or would the gods she'd never prayed to save her? Asterisk. Izila's chants grew louder, the air thick with the scent of burnt herbs. He drew a circle of black powder around Amara, lit 7 candles, and smeared white chalk across her face. The knife gleamed as he raised it high. Amara squeezed her eyes shut, bracing for pain. A thunderclap shook the earth. The candles went out. The roof groaned. The knife flew from Izila's hand, clattering against the wall. He staggered, his milky eyes rolling back as he collapsed, convulsing. "The gods!" he screamed. "They reject her. She's marked." Amara lay untouched, her ropes inexplicably loosened. The powder circle had turned white, like ash after a fire. Izila's body stilled, his breath ragged. Chaik was gone. The forest was silent. Amara wasn't just spared, she was chosen. But chosen for what? And why had her own father abandoned her to this fate? Amara wandered for hours, her bare feet bleeding, until she reached a missionary outpost deep in the forest. A woman in a white blouse and wrapper approached, her eyes wide with recognition. "I'm Sister Ada," she said. "We've been expecting you." Amara collapsed onto a wooden bench inside the mission house, clutching a cup of water that felt strangely holy. Sister Ada sat beside her. "You've been dreaming, haven't you?" A woman with a calabash, blood, thunder. Amara's heart skipped. "How do you know?" "You're not the first," Sister Ada said softly. "The mark you carry appears once every generation. The world tries to silence it, but it always rises." Amara looked at her hands. "What mark?" "Not all marks are seen," Sister Ada replied. "Some burn in your spirit." What was this mark? And why had Sister Ada been waiting for Amara, as if her arrival was written in the stars? That night, Amara slept in the mission chapel, but her dreams were relentless. She stood in a river of white smoke, facing a woman she recognized only from faded photographs. Her grandmother, Ezin. "You will break it," Ezin said, her voice like a song. "The silence, the shame, the curse that has chained our daughters." Amara woke gasping, her chest burning. The next morning, Sister Ada handed her a wooden box. Inside was a carved staff, ancient and smooth, wrapped in white cloth. "This was Ezin's," Sister Ada said. "She left it for you the day you were born, saying, 'Give it to her when she returns from the fire.'" Amara touched the staff. A jolt shot through her, her vision blinding white. She screamed and collapsed, voices whispering in her mind. Ancestors, spirits, truths. When she woke, Sister Ada was praying over her. "You've been chosen," she said. "The spirits have spoken." Amara's eyes were clearer now. She heard the trees, felt the pain of her people like a pulse in her bones. "What do I do?" she asked. "Prepare," Sister Ada said. "You'll return not as the girl they tried to kill, but as the one to heal the land." Amara wasn't just a survivor. She was a vessel for something greater. But what secrets lay buried in her family's past? And what would it cost her to uncover them? Months passed. Amara trained with Sister Ada, learning the old ways. Prayers, herbs, the language of spirits. She grew stronger, her fear replaced by a quiet fire. The day came to return to Obike. The sky burned hotter than usual, as if warning the village of her arrival. Sister Ada handed her the staff and a worn Bible. "Are you ready?" she asked. Amara nodded. "Yes." They walked into Obike, children staring, women pausing, the air shifting. At her family's compound, Neka dropped her basket of cassava, tears streaming. "Amara, my child," she sobbed, rushing to embrace her. Amara stood still. "I missed you," Neka wept. "I needed you," Amara said quietly. "But you were silent." Chike staggered out, frail and sickly, his once proud voice a rasp. He saw the staff and trembled. "You survived. I was never yours to destroy," Amara said. A crowd gathered, whispers spreading. "She's back. They said she died. Is she a ghost?" Amara stepped forward, raising the staff. "I came not for revenge, but for truth. Your greed sold me, but the gods rejected your sacrifice. My blood carries what you tried to bury." The sky darkened. A wind howled. What truth was Amara about to unleash? And would the village survive it? An elder woman, blind in one eye, spoke. "I know that staff. It was Ezen's." She turned to the crowd. Chike poisoned his own mother, buried her alive, calling her a witch. She warned him his daughter would rise above him. Chike tried to flee, but his legs failed. The villagers shouted, "Confess!" Amara raised her voice. "This village watched me suffer. You knew Chike was cruel. You heard my screams and stayed silent." The crowd fell quiet. "I forgive you," Amara said. "But this land must be cleansed." She struck the staff against the earth. A crack split the ground near Chike's feet, and he fainted. Amara's forgiveness wasn't weakness. It was power. But what would cleansing the land mean? And who else carried guilt in their silence? Days later, the village council summoned Amara. Chief Obike stood. "What justice do you seek?" Amara faced Chike, now tied to a pillar, broken. "I didn't know they'd reject you," he whispered. "I wanted wealth. You sold me like a goat," Amara said. "But I seek no blood. Let him live. Let him watch me rise." The crowd murmured in awe. Amara turned to them. No more silence. No child sold, no woman beaten, no life traded for money. The square erupted in applause, tears flowing. That evening, Neka handed Amara the papers she'd hidden, her childhood dreams. "I kept them," Neka whispered. "I didn't understand." "Now you will," Amara said, embracing her mother, healing beginning. Amara's return wasn't just about justice. It was about breaking a cycle of pain. But could she truly heal a village steeped in secrets? Years passed. Amara stayed in Obike, building a school for girls, speaking at churches, training midwives. Sister Ada gifted her a necklace of coral beads, once Ezen's. "You're the one," she said, and left. People traveled from distant towns to hear Amara's story. "How did you survive?" they asked. She smiled. "The gods rejected me because I was already chosen." One dawn, Amara stood by the mango tree where Chike once slept. Children ran past, free and joyful. She closed her eyes, peace settling in her soul. Amara had broken the curse, but whispers lingered. Was another girl out there, dreaming of blood and thunder, waiting to rise? Thank you for joining Amara's journey. Her story reminds us that even in the darkest betrayals, we can find strength to rise, to heal, to change the world. No one should be silenced for tradition or greed. If Amara's courage moved you, share this story. Subscribe for more tales of resilience, and let us know in the comments. What would you do if you carried a mark you didn't yet understand? Until next time, keep the fire in your spirit burning.